Have you ever heard the saying, "What you allow is what will continue"? In relationships, this couldn't be more true. The first time you forgive something you don't even fully understand, without clarity, without truth, you send a message, not just to her, but to yourself. And that message is simple. My boundaries don't matter. My dignity doesn't matter. And from that moment on, in her eyes, you become less. You become weaker. You become the man who can be pushed, tested, and eventually broken. Now, I'm not telling you to become paranoid or suspicious of every little thing a woman does. What I'm saying is this: if you forgive blindly, if you brush things off without demanding respect and honesty, you slowly turn into nothing in her eyes. You lose the very thing that made her attracted to you in the first place. So let's break this down, because what many men don't realize is that forgiveness, when given too quickly, without truth, without accountability, is not forgiveness. It's weakness disguised as love, and women can smell that weakness from a mile away. The very first mistake men make is thinking that love means endless tolerance. They think, if I forgive her quickly, she'll see how good of a man I am. She'll appreciate me. But here's the brutal reality: she doesn't. She loses respect for you. She sees you as someone who values the relationship more than his own self-respect. And women do not fall in love with men they don't respect. Picture this. She lies about something small, where she was, who she was texting. You feel that gut instinct, that subtle tension, but you brush it off. You tell yourself, it's not worth fighting over. I'll just let it go. But here's what she thinks deep down. He didn't question it. He didn't demand honesty. I can get away with more. And slowly, that seed of disrespect grows. A woman will test you, not because she hates you, but because on some level, she wants to know if you're strong enough to handle her. She wants to know if you'll stand firm when the truth matters. And if you don't, if you forgive too easily without understanding the whole picture, you fail that test. She may not say it, but she feels it. And once that feeling sets in, it doesn't go away. The second problem with blind forgiveness is this: it builds silent resentment inside you. You tell yourself you're moving on, but in reality, the wound is still there. You don't have the truth, you don't have closure, you don't have accountability. And so it festers. You begin to question her in your mind, even if you don't speak it out loud. That resentment grows, and one day, it explodes. By then, it's too late. The relationship is already poisoned. True forgiveness only works when the truth is laid bare. When she takes accountability, when she looks you in the eye and says, I messed up, here's what I did, here's why, and here's how I'll make it right. Without that, forgiveness is fake. It's just avoidance, and avoidance never leads to respect. Here's the third lesson. Women are emotional, but they're not blind. They notice everything. They notice if you question things. They notice if you enforce your standards. And they notice if you fold the moment there's conflict. If she sees you fold once, just once, she will never see you the same again. Think about it like this. Would you respect a leader who forgives betrayal without an explanation? Would you respect a boss who ignores mistakes without correction? No. You'd see them as weak. And women are the same with men. If you forgive without clarity, she sees you as replaceable, as bendable, as disposable. But here's the twist. She will never admit this out loud. She won't say, I lost respect for you because you forgave me too quickly. She'll just act colder. She'll stop being affectionate. She'll test you more. And eventually, she'll drift away, all while you're scratching your head, wondering what went wrong. So here's the truth. Forgiveness is powerful, but only when it's earned. Only when there's honesty. Only when there's accountability. If you forgive blindly, you're not showing love. You're erasing your value. The first time you do this, you don't even notice the shift. She does. And slowly, you become less in her eyes. Until eventually, you're nothing at all. So, what's the solution? You need to build the courage to stop forgiving blindly. You need to build the strength to pause, to demand clarity, to enforce your standards. Not with anger, not with shouting, but with calm, unshakable presence. The moment she realizes you will not accept lies, excuses, or disrespect, everything changes. She may resist at first, she may test harder, but deep down, she'll respect you. She'll see you as a man who values himself, and women never forget a man who values himself. Because here's the hard truth: love without respect is not love at all, and respect is lost the very first time you forgive something you don't even understand. Now let me ask you, have you ever forgiven something too quickly, only to realize later it was a mistake? Did you feel her respect slipping away afterward? Think about that, because in part 2, we're going deeper. We'll talk about the hidden ways women test your boundaries, how to recognize them, and how to respond without losing yourself. So let's continue. We ended part 1 with a powerful idea. Love without respect isn't love at all. And respect is the very first thing you lose when you forgive blindly. But the story doesn't end there, because the moment you give away that kind of free forgiveness, women start testing you in subtle but dangerous ways. And here's the part most men never see coming. Those tests don't always look like tests. Sometimes they look like small jokes, little jabs, or tiny acts of defiance. Other times they look like accidental lies or a conveniently left out detail. But make no mistake, she's watching. She's watching how you react. She's watching if you stand firm or if you brush it off again, telling yourself, it's not worth making a big deal out of it. But here's the truth. Every small moment matters. Every reaction you give either raises or lowers your value in her eyes. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you've been dating a woman for 6 months. Things feel stable, even good. One evening, she casually mentions she ran into an ex while she was out with friends. Now, depending on how you handle this, the entire trajectory of the relationship can shift. If you immediately shrug it off, pretending it doesn't matter, she notices. If you explode in anger, she notices. But if you calmly look her in the eyes and say, "Thanks for telling me," but if you ever leave out details about something like that, "We're done," that's when she feels it. That's when she knows you're serious about your boundaries. And here's the uncomfortable reality. Women actually want to know you have those boundaries. Because if you don't, she can't trust you to lead. She can't trust you to protect her or even yourself. Deep down, she loses that feeling of safety that only comes when a man stands his ground. Now let's talk about why forgiving too easily destroys that safety. When you forgive without the truth, you're basically telling her, my need for respect is smaller than my need for your approval. You may not say it out loud, but that's what she hears. And the moment she hears that, the dynamic changes. She's no longer looking at you as a man to admire. She's looking at you as a man to manage. And once you become manageable in her eyes, you stop being desirable. This is why so many men are blindsided when their relationships fall apart. They think everything was fine because they kept the peace, because they forgave quickly, because they didn't want to fight. But behind the scenes, she was losing respect day by day until there was nothing left. Now let's get practical. How do you prevent this? First, you must understand the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is something you can give in your heart for your own peace. But reconciliation, allowing her back into your trust, into your heart, into your life, that has to be earned. And it's only earned through accountability. So the next time she does something that hurts you or crosses a boundary, don't rush to say, "It's fine, I forgive you." Instead, pause. Watch how she responds. Does she take responsibility? Does she try to make it right? Or does she minimize, deflect, or blame you for even bringing it up? That response tells you everything you need to know. If she takes accountability, then maybe, just maybe, rebuilding trust is possible. But if she deflects, if she manipulates, if she tries to guilt you into forgiving without clarity, That's when you have to stand tall and walk away if needed. Because if you stay, you'll slowly turn into nothing in her eyes. Second, you need to build emotional strength. Most men crumble because they can't handle the discomfort of holding their ground. They'd rather say, "I forgive you," quickly than sit in that awkward silence, that tension, that feeling of confrontation. But here's the truth. Women respect men who can handle discomfort. They respect men who can look them in the eye, stay calm, and hold the line, even when it's uncomfortable. Third, understand this. Every time you forgive blindly, you're teaching her how to treat you. Think about that. If she lies once and you brush it off, you've just told her lying is allowed. If she disrespects you in public and you pretend it didn't bother you, you've just told her disrespect is allowed. And the thing about people, men and women alike, is that they will always push as far as you allow. It's like a child testing a parent. If the child screams in a store and the parent gives them candy to quiet them, guess what? The child will scream every time they want candy. Women are no different when it comes to respect. If you reward bad behavior with blind forgiveness, don't be surprised when it keeps happening. Now let's go even deeper. Why do so many men forgive blindly in the first place? The answer is fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of being alone. Fear of conflict. And fear is the one thing women cannot respect in a man. She may pity you, she may use you, but she will never admire you. If you want to be respected, you must be willing to lose her rather than lose yourself. Let me repeat that. You must be willing to lose her rather than lose yourself. Because the moment she sees that you're willing to sacrifice your dignity just to keep her, you're finished. You become nothing in her eyes. But the moment she realizes you'd rather walk away than compromise your self-respect, that's when she feels something different. She feels admiration, she feels attraction, she feels safe knowing that you will not bend for lies, for disrespect, or for manipulation. So here's the ultimate lesson. Forgiveness without truth is not forgiveness. It's self-betrayal. And nothing destroys a man faster than betraying himself. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Demand honesty. Demand accountability. Demand respect. Not with rage, not with desperation, but with calm strength. Because the moment you forgive without knowing, the moment you surrender your standards, you become nothing in her eyes. But the moment you stand firm, you become everything she secretly craves in a man. So the next time you're tempted to brush it off, to say it's fine without clarity, remember this. Every forgiveness you give without truth takes a piece of your value away. Protect that value. Because once it's gone, there's no bringing it back. And if this video spoke to you, I want you to pause for a second. Think about the last time you gave forgiveness too quickly. Did she respect you more afterward or less? Did she get closer or did she pull away? That answer will tell you everything. And if you found yourself nodding along, realizing how often men fall into this trap, make sure you subscribe. Because we're not here to sugarcoat things. We're here to tell the truth, to make you stronger, and to help you never lose yourself again in the eyes of any woman.